Thank you, Deputy Speaker. The Minister told us that this is a scheme under the Fisheries Act, which it is, whereby all the devolved regions and England and Wales can make their own provision. What he didn't tell this House, and what the committee does not even seem to have examined, is the overriding fundamental constitutional issue that under the protocol, this scheme is capped. The EU, our masters, our colonial masters, for which the Minister is but a slave in these circumstances, dictates how much can be granted in aid to our fishermen. Article 10 of the protocol subjects us to state aid rules. And state aid rules, which apply only to Northern Ireland, and therefore England and Wales and Scotland are not so, do not have their hands tied behind their back in this regard. State aid rules have specified the maximum that this Minister can grant under this scheme to the fishing industry. It's mentioned in paragraph 9 of the explanatory document. There it is in black and white. The elephant that no one wanted to mention. That over a 5-year period, all the Minister is allowed to provide under this scheme is £16.9 million. So over 5 years. So for this, the first of 5 years, he's provided 20%. It also says that the maximum he can provide in any year is £4.01 million. So the fundamental issue here is that this is a Minister who can only do Brussels bidding, who is not allowed to put our fishing industry into a position where they can better compete with the EU, because the EU dictates how much grant aid he can give. And they dictate it on the basis that we should not be allowed to compete advantageously with them. And therefore the Minister comes to this House with a proposal which is effectively written in Brussels, because it tells us how much we can give to our fishing industry in Northern Ireland. That is but an illustration of how appalling the continuing control of a foreign parliament and commission and jurisdiction is over an industry in Northern Ireland which has already been crucified by the common fisheries policy for 40 years by the EU, is now but a small shadow of itself and still has to continue dominated and controlled by EU limits on what aid can be given to the sector. That is an appalling vista and situation. And little wonder our fishing industry is not going to be allowed to flourish and grow back to what it was, because the EU still controls the purse strings. Not that they give the money, but they control how much the British Exchequer can give and how much their colonial slave, the Minister, can give to the industry. That is a fundamental affront to which I'm surprised, well, maybe I'm not, that I'm the only member of this House to even protest against.
Thank you, Mr. Allister.